We're talking about random tables. All right, Charles, we have to have our normal meeting before the cameras start on how we determine what our topic is. Let's go ahead and determine that. All right.
13.
All right, consulting the Oracle. It's finally time, Charles. We will talk about random tables.
Like kitchen tables or...
No, tabletops, obviously.
Oh, like granite and wood.
Welcome to What is Tabletop, where Frank is actually mad that he made the pun this time. I am your host, Frank, a GM of 10 years who fixes the D20 to make sure it's in frame. And with me is Charles.
Hey, I'm Charles. I'm the guy who messes things up. All right.
Yeah, by having puns.
Puns, yes.
That's fine. How'd you feel about everyone calling you Chuck the other day?
It was wild. I enjoyed it because I think it's really funny. Again, I will start going by it. We get to that $3,000 a month. I will start going by it.
I will make a lower graphic just for Charles to be called Chuck.
Like the little thermometer thing of where we're at. Charles gets called Chuck very low, and then like the very high.
How much graphics work do you think I do, my guy?
So much.
And you can support that by going to our Patreon or becoming a YouTube member, where you can do all the fun things all the time. But before you do that...
Oh, yeah, you should also like, comment, and subscribe, because that's what the cool people do on YouTube, or so I'm told. I'm not very cool.
And, of course, we have a Discord where we have a bunch of people talking about their games that they're making, and so you should join it.
And we're going to shout out Eldridge Eli for being a YouTube member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, Charles knows things.
I know things. I keep track of things. Frank's the money guy. All right. But no, seriously, thanks for your subscription. We appreciate it.
And so, of course, we are now back to the actual topic. The thing you clicked on, we assume. If you think about it, the YouTube algorithm is like a giant random encounter. If you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. But we won't talk about algorithms because mine's all messed up because I have children.
Yeah, that's true. It's what, K-pop Demon Hunters?
K-pop Demon Hunters, toys.
I'm surprised that you don't have regular K-pop fed into that because of K-pop Demon Hunters.
It surprises me too, because there's actually like, because of that movie, I'm like, okay, K-pop's pretty good. Like,
tell us in the comments, should we do an episode on K-pop? Let's not be like a random encounter that makes no sense how we got here. Let's actually talk about the topic.
All right, let's talk about it. So, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Can I call you Frank?
No.
Okay. What are rolling tables?
So we're talking about random tables. And in the tabletop RPG space, that basically means you roll some dice, usually. Sometimes you might use cards or some other randomization tool, but you're usually rolling dice. And you're going to get something random out of it. I think it originally came from, early D&D of random encounters. Like, oh man, I do not have the time to prep the exact encounter I need for this part of the dungeon they're going to go into. Okay, what happens? You guys kick down the door and... 4 orcs show up, right? And then boom, you have 4 orcs you're fighting. Now you have an entirely built-in encounter right there that you didn't have to do any prep for. You just have to get the orc stat block and you're good.
But what are the orcs' motives? Why are they attacking you?
Charles, we're not at the cons yet about... Don't spoil things yet.
Spoiler alert, I messed up.
And obviously, since then, there are so many different ways you could do random tables. From outside of just... talking about monsters and random encounters, you can also have them do a bunch of unique things.
Actually, making random tables is something I enjoy doing because it's fun to come up with your own. But yeah, I think it's a great tool to use when you're not sure what you want to do, or if like you're in between, like, okay, maybe a couple of players couldn't make it, but you still want to play in this, within that world, and we'll have people make a whole bunch of different characters. So you're like, hey, why don't we just have we'll do a side story, a side quest, if you will, and then it kind of helps you inform of what you can do with that. So
I used to do that all the time in college back when I had more free time, where it would just be like, hey, we only have 2 people here because let's just do an impromptu session, and then it'd be fun. Like one of them was them going to the shadow plane to gain shadow powers, and another was, well, we got to go to hell because someone sold their soul to a devil. Let's get them out of that situation.
Was it Charles? Probably.
No, I think it was Brooks.
Yeah.
It's always Brooks.
You know what? That is a
Look
fair
at
point.
that guy making deals with demons and devils.
Yeah, don't we all?
Are you enjoying the video so far? Then you should check out our Patreon, where we have a bunch of additional stuff that you can enjoy.
We have a series called We're Promised We're Friends, because apparently people think we're not, because Frank is mean to me.
I am not mean to you, but we do talk about all various things, not just tabletop RPGs, a bunch of different stuff. We talk about, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's not.
I still concede that it is.
We also have the live streams from all of our design live streams, so if you want to watch them in full, not just the edited clip versions that we put out for free on YouTube, Patreon is also where you want to go.
And of course, there's higher tiers where you can help us design things like one-shots and maybe even play games with us.
And of course, if you're only wanting to watch the videos, you can become a YouTube member and you'll get all the videos that are available on the Patreon as well. We got session zeros, we got upcoming one-shots, all the fun stuff, and you get to be a part of it. Join us on Patreon. Now back to the actual video. Again, it's not just about encounters. You can do a lot of different things with that. You can have story hooks, plot points. There are things where like weather, right? If you want your game to feel more realistic instead of just being like, the rain falls down because you're all sad and that makes sense for this moment. Or you could be honest, be like most people, including myself, where you kind of forget weather is supposed to be a thing. And you're like, oh yeah, the weather today is something. It's always sunny, except when it's not.
I've been following a new group of D&D players, basically. I think it's called World of ISO. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know who that is. For character building, they'll do rolling for that. Like if something happens to your character or something changes. So like it's really funny to watch them do it, because especially if you're someone who likes spontaneity in your games, it's so fun to kind of like, I don't know what kind of character I'm gonna get out of this, so I'm gonna randomly roll.
That is the biggest boon about random tables, is the fact that you might have something on a random table that you would not have thought of otherwise. And now suddenly it's shown up and you can make it work. Now, obviously, when it comes to random tables of any kinds, whether it's encounters, weather, NPCs, stuff like that.
Flaws, traits, yeah.
You do have to have a table that can fit what you're looking for.
Correct.
And so sometimes games are nice enough to include that. Other times, not so much. And that can be a thing. So when we were playing D&D for a while, I actually would have different zones in my world, right? Like you're in, like when we did the pirate campaign.
Yes.
In one section of the waters would be like, all right, but here's a D10 that you would be rolling. And here are the options of the encounters you can have while sailing the 7 seas. But then the second you enter this option, new encounters come up. And well, I guess we'll talk about some of the cons now, but one of them usually is, right, like you alluded to, why are the orcs there?
Yeah.
Why is the thing there? You can still have story moments with random encounter tables. So in the random encounters I had, there was a small chance, the further you got into the waters, of the big bads, basically like evil minions showing up, kind of a thing. And then the further along you would go, the likelihood of you encountering that would increase.
Okay.
Right. Now, the downside is you guys never saw that because we never rolled that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're in this section of the water, so you might come into a Navy ship. Oh, you never rolled the Navy ships? Okay, I guess you never know that the Navy exists, I guess.
I mean, the Navy is just a myth that the Fae created, so.
Actually, that would be really funny. Someone do that. That would be really funny.
Well, why don't we do that in our game?
Again, the ups and the downs of random encounters. You get some really cool ideas that you would never have thought of before. And then implementing them can be very difficult.
Yeah, I will say that is probably the one thing with the tables is that sometimes I do think there is an issue with having too many tables, for sure.
Yes, actually, I agree very much with that. So over here, we got 2 encounter books. One's literally random tables and one's random encounters. And the idea is it's to give you more inspiration for things, right? These things are great.
Absolutely.
But like the problem with this book of like random encounters is it does give me sections on things, but there's still a lot in here, right? For like temples, tombs, and crypts. This is actually really clever, and I guess I'm singing the praises of this thing. They have a different section for multiple different things, and then they have in it that you can roll for which page you go to. So never mind. So they kind of broke through one of the criticisms I would have had, but that's actually very clever.
That's a great way to do it. It's very much like choose your own adventure, but like roll your own adventure. I love it.
Right, because like the problem could be like if you don't know what's in this kind of a book, well, how do you know what page to turn to?
That's fair.
So the fact that they're like, hey, here's like some general outlines and then you can do it. The downside is it's going to become pretty obvious that that's what you're doing. It's like, hold on. All right, I'm on that page. And then, okay. And then pros. It's just a lot of light work for the especially if it's included, right? We got Dune right here. And that's kind of what interests us to talk about this is because in Dune, you are required to roll for your rival. your house rivals. So you don't get to choose in Dune how much your rivals hate you. You don't get to choose why they hate you, which actually kind of fits, right? If you think about it. Like, yeah, no, the reason your rivals hate you has nothing to do with it has something to do with what you did, but it has nothing to do with you giving the choice of what it is. It's just your house was doing what your house does. These guys came along and got hurt by it. And then how hurt they got by it, again, is not up to you. You don't get to determine how much they hate you based off of the thing you did.
Right.
And I think that's a really good use of random encounter or random tables.
Yeah,
is that, right? Like you talked about, there's some games like Traveler where rolling randomly can create a really fun experience because you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know necessarily what the optimum thing to do is, but that's fine. I can go for a little bit of the journey of what character am I going to get out of this? And then you get to find a way to connect those story bits. If you're into improv, this is a great way to make a character. For sure.
Absolutely. That's how you choose things in Fiasco. You roll a bunch of die, and then you choose how you use. You still get to choose how you use those die. Like what you rolled, will determine one of the things you do.
Yeah, like if we roll a bunch of dice and there's 1, 5, 0 4s, that means 4s are off the table.
Right.
So we can't choose something that has a 4 attached to it in Fiasco, but which can be like, well, that's limiting, but in a way, because it's limiting, it actually is a little bit more creative because you're forced to have to choose like, well, I got a bunch of 5s here, so let me choose something that has a 5 on it.
So, I think we're kind of crossing the cons too, is that the problem with having these random tables is sometimes, depending on what it is, you end up rolling a lot of the same things sometimes too, and you end up sometimes you end up going a direction that you maybe weren't planning on. So I think it's important, like you said, you got to kind of know what tables you're using, but I think we need to understand that I feel like random tables should be used sparingly and not like they shouldn't be your solution to everything.
Yeah. We're going to talk about solo gaming for a second because solo game, or at least games without a GM, things that use what's called oracles, which is literally just random tables.
Yeah.
They are nice. There is a reason our hobby still has people in the GM seat.
Correct.
It's because oracles can't fully do what a person can do. Right. Technology cannot fully do what a person can do.
And my thing about
did you get that I meant AI? I'm sorry, we're good. We're good. Go.
And that's the thing too with the solo leveling or whatever, the RPG stuff. Like
solo leveling is a anime, my guy.
My bad. Sorry, what's it called?
Solo RPGs.
Solo RPGs. That's just choose your own adventure. It really is. And like, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I've seen more and more people get into it. Again, that'll be a discussion for a different time. But like, I will say I don't see I could ever be into that. I'd much rather be at a table with people.
Yeah, we actually got to play a solo game. It was Starforged.
Yeah.
Because it was just you, me, and Jeffrey, and we all decided to hang out anyway. And I was like, well, let me try this out. And it was fun.
It was fun.
We had to get used to the idea of like, okay, my character's on like the back foot, like the terminology they use where it's like, I'm in a bad spot, I'm in a good spot, what that means, and then rolling tables based off of that. There was parts of it that were actually really fun. Like we went into this place and I was like, oh, there's a black ichor.
Yes.
And then Jeffrey added on to that and it's like, and it's inside an astronaut suit. And it was like, we just kept piling onto that.
Yeah.
There's some really cool fun with that. But then let's say we roll randomly on a table and it's like, oh, okay, what happens here? And everyone just kind of pauses. And then I went like, this is probably what happens.
Yeah.
And then as we kept doing it, I found that I was the one leading the story. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, and that's the thing too. Because the fact that we had 3 people playing together, I'm like, one of us could have just been the GM.
and I mean, at least with our group dynamic, it ended up going that way.
Yeah.
I think you probably could have some people who are able to improv with each other so well that you can eventually bounce a cohesive narrative. But the random tables that aren't going to be able to do that as well, right?
Right.
We talked about it, right? It's really cool to randomly roll for character creation. I've done that before. When you're a GM, you just are happy to play a character. You don't care what kind of character it is.
Right.
So I played a cleric in a campaign. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to roll for the background traits in the back. And I rolled and I came up with a really interesting character of this guy who's looking for scripture from his religion because he was kicked out of his order because he was a false heretic, basically. Like he was expounding on religious texts that shouldn't exist. But he heard rumors that they might exist in this mega dungeon. And that's why he's going to explore it. But he would constantly quote scripture. Like that was his personality trait.
The term false heretic is such a wild ride for me in my mind. I'm like, false?
In his head, he's a false heretic.
Yeah.
To everyone else, he's just a heretic.
Got it.
And it was a whole thing. And it was just from but again, it told me it was like, oh, you quote scripture, you got kicked out of your church. And I was like, I had to come up with the connecting threads of that, which again, if you're the kind of person who's really good at like being able to improv and like move things along, it can be really cool to be like, I would have never thought of making this character before. If you're bad at it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the other cons about tables is that tables can only give you so much information. Like when you get into this hobby, into this lifestyle, mom.
Okay.
Sorry, moment. So no, when you get into this hobby, you really try to figure out like what kind of player you are, because we've talked about the different types of players, and a table is great. It's a great assistant, but it cannot tell you how you should play your character. It can tell you, oh, this is what your character should look and sound like. But again, if that feels unnatural to you, you're not going to want to play it that way. Right. So like a table can only do so much for you.
Yeah, I think tables work when it's like the options are either too many or like we talked about again.
Right.
Dune using it for the rivals specifically is very smart. Of like, you don't have a choice in how your rivals feel about you. I think that's really cool. Now, they didn't do random tables for you determining what your speciality is. Like, what are you good at? Like, what are your domains that you're in charge of? Our group ended up rolling for it because our group is indecisive sometimes.
We love the chaos. We embrace it.
No, and that sometimes it is also like just we love the chaos.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing is like they intentionally are like, no, you get to choose this. Because I think what some people might not know, if you have a table that you can roll on, even if you put in the text, you may choose from the list below or roll randomly. People are going to see that table and be like, well, I guess I have to roll randomly.
You know what's crazy, though? The fact that you mentioned, like, you're talking about a group of guys who decided to play Traveler, the character creation portion, as its own game.
Yeah, we did.
That's where I think tables come in. I think they're good inspirations. And I think that's when you should use them, is like when you need like that little boost. Because, again, you can plan everything. Again, we've talked about GM's planning every little detail out and how it doesn't always, because again, if you're a GM, you know it's not going to work out. You're not going to, like you said, oh, we never found out that, we never ran into the big bad, on the, in that location because we never got to that point.
Yeah, the times that you guys actually ran into plot important moments was when I made you run into them.
Correct.
Now, again, random encounters can flesh out the world a lot more of like, oh, hey, here's this question that things are happening outside of your control, right? You rolled a 6 and now there's a Navy blockade. Why is there a Navy blockade? I mean, I have to figure that out. Yeah. But like it comes across like, oh, there's a Navy blockade because the Navy's here, because of course they are. That stuff does work a lot better with random tables if you're able to already have the tools to flesh it out in the first place.
I consider myself very creative, but like there are times I know I will go to a table and I'm like, hey, I want to create something, For example, I don't think any of my players watch this.
Oh, no, probably not. So I don't even think our players watch this.
Jeffrey might. I think he might be the only one. So I was creating a group of chronomancy like rogues, like thieves or whatever. So I'm like, this is a cool idea. And I was like, well, I don't want them all to be like the same like species, race, whatever. Right. So I was like, and I kind of relied on a table. I'm like, okay, how can I diversify this? So to help me diversify that group, I already knew what the plot hook was for these guys, but I didn't know like who I wanted to be in this group. Right. But I wanted to be diverse enough, so I ended up with a human, a goblin, like a couple of different things. Like it was, and that's fun to do that random thing sometimes to kind of figure those things out. I think that's when you should really use tables. I think it's for inspiration specifically too. And I think ultimately the biggest time you use it is with encounters.
The part of the reason random encounters exist is because, oh, they're going to the dungeon. I have not fleshed out the dungeon. Hold on. You fight 3 rhinos now. Perfect. I have a little bit more time to flesh out the dungeon.
Are rhinos native to this land? It doesn't matter.
They're lightning rhinos. So yes.
That's crazy because I created like a demigod. I was like, your name is Arizagus and you are the demigod of lightning who belongs to the nature pantheon. Like I was like, it's amazing how hard GMs. Bravo if you're really good at coming off, especially like I know Frank is good at this. I am not great at coming with stuff off the top of my head in the moment. I'm good. Like if you give me like 10 seconds, I can do it. Like if I have time to think, I'm great. But when I have to do it in the moment,
and like that's why random encounters exist, or random tables exist.
Yeah, because like I remember the Fallout RPG. I'm like, this happened. It was very much. There's a lot of kind of like when I do my YouTube show.
When we say random encounters, by the way,
yes,
we don't just mean combat encounters.
Correct.
They can be great for social encounters, for just whatever your game is ending up doing. We have all been there when your party is like, hey, does this thing exist in the world? It's like, hey, does a potion shop exist here? And you're like, I did not flesh out a potion shop. Yeah. Cool. What's the guy's name? His name is Flurgaflager, right?
Oh, like Josh. Josh is great.
Josh, we'll have to get into that on We Promise We're Friends for sure.
Hashtag save Josh.
Oh, Josh is doing just fine, buddy.
Keep Josh safe.
Josh is doing just fine. In college, I did have a group want to go to the potion shop, and I'm like, crap, I have to think of something. And like, basically in my head, I rolled a random table of like, give me an accent, give me a dumb name. I'm like, you find this half-elf wizard who goes, hi, my name is this. No joke. There was a guy in the room like that we were doing it because we were in a bigger building. His name was Larry Rios. And I went, his name is Laros. And then I'm like, I need a last name. Vendor.
Vendor.
Laros Vendor. Right? That's what you get when you think off the top of your head versus having a random table of oh, you encounter Sir Reginald. It's like, who the heck is Sir Reginald? I don't know. I just put that name down there, but now we have to figure out who Sir Reginald is.
So let's talk about how to best use tables. Like when should, not so much when should we use them, but what are they great for?
They're good for fleshing out parts of your world. They're good for when you can't think of something right at the top of your head. You could be like, cool, let me just pull out this random table and move. The way I've always used tables was, all right, we're adventuring. If traveling is important, that is a great time to do it.
Yes.
And I would have on there, right? We would do it a few times where I would have you guys roll a D10. And if you rolled a 10, it meant smooth sailing. It meant you guys actually don't have to worry about anything for today. And sometimes, depending on what kind of dice you're rolling, the severity of what you're rolling and stuff like that, maybe you actually go faster because you got like a breeze that got you there. These are some ideas. You don't always have to have like, and then you fight this person, and then you fight this person. Just things that can flesh out the world a little bit more is good ideas for that.
And I also like the idea of like mixing tables too. Like, okay, here's the danger. Here's the severity of it. You know, maybe here's how much time you have. It's an option. It's not a requirement. Again, unless you're playing Traveler character creation.
Now, let me give some more practical advice on tables, right?
Sure.
Make sure, and this is going to be weird, make sure whatever system you're designing or whatever system you play, that the table uses the dice associated with that system.
Yes.
You might be like, but that's limiting. My system is only D6s. Fun fact, you can still make that work. City of Mist has a D66 system. So instead of just rolling a D6 and then you only have encounter table for like 6 options, you're rolling 2 D6 and then you're like, this is the 10s place, this is the 1s place.
Oh,
and that gives you a lot more options to work with suddenly.
That's fantastic.
Rather than just like, oh no, I'm stuck with 6 options. So that's something to think about. Another thing you want to think about is how you orient good and bad circumstances. I'm not saying you need to do this. This is just how I tend to do it. Your lower numbers should always be the worst outcome, and your higher numbers should always be the best outcome, in my opinion. Because I have found if you're rolling a D20 and you get a 20, your players expect something awesome to happen. Makes sense. That's what we're all ingrained with. Even if we've moved away from D&D and play roll under systems, we still expect I rolled the max on the big die. I should get a good thing from it. Right? When we play Daggerheart and you guys have to roll for camping and you're like, one of you's taking a downtime action to like survey the land, you guys know if I roll a low number, it's bad. So like anytime you guys roll a 3, you're like, crap, we're just gonna have to assume Frank rolled better than us because a 3 is terrible.
Yeah.
Now obviously we make a joke anytime you guys roll, right? Where it's like three dragons.
Yeah, that's always our go-to joke. It's like Frank will be like, hey, could one of you guys just roll a D8 for me real quick, or a D12 or something? You know, we'll roll it. And then it'll land on like 6. It was like, oh, wait, 6 dragons. That's
1 6-headed dragon.
I will say, though, there are game systems like Fallout that use the lower end of it, too.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah.
If you want it to really feel random, mixing it in and out is a great idea. Of like, this time a 1 was good. Next time it might be bad. Who knows? I kind of like the idea that I know my players are going to inherently feel a certain way when they roll a 1 versus when they roll a 20. So I'm going to lean into that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right? So you guys feel the 1, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to build the tension on this 1 as much as possible. It's also fun, by the way, if they know you're rolling, and you roll behind the screen, and then you just wait a minute before you describe what happens.
Yeah.
Because
Build that tension.
That's another good use of random encounter tables, or just random tables in general, is like, if the players know you rolled on a table, and you just keep the result to yourself. Oh, buddy.
This is why Frank's really good at social deduction games, because he's really good at holding his cards, close to the vest type thing. Because I'll look at his face and he can smile. And the smile could either mean that's amazing or you guys are in trouble. And you never know. For me, I can't tell which is which.
Yeah. In one situation, you guys, I think I rolled a 1 and Evan rolled like a 2 or a 3, and he's like, well, Frank had to have rolled better than us.
That's right.
And then I was like, cool. So your villain arrives in the middle of the scene and is like, hey, you stole something of mine. And everyone's like, oh no.
I remember that. That was wild.
Yeah. Right. The feeling of it, lean into that. There's a game that I just heard about called Triangle Agency, I think, or Triangle, something like that. 3 is very important in the game.
Which is great.
Right.
I love
even
that,
though you're rolling D4s. But
but a D4 is just a pyramid. So yeah, no, I like that. That's really cool, actually.
But 3s are really important. So then maybe that's how you function is oh, well, when you roll a 3, actually the good thing happens.
So I love the idea of the top number not being the best. And it actually, if anything, is I rolled a 3, but a 4 and 2 are really bad or so too as well. Because they're even or whatever.
And then some additional tips. Again, determine where this encounter is going to go, right? If it's I'm traveling from city A to city B, think of just the landscape of what they could possibly encounter. And again, it doesn't always have to be dangers. It could be there's a wizard tower that you see off in the distance. Now the party has a choice. Are we going to go explore the wizard tower even though we get off the normal path? Or are we going to keep going? And even in that wizard tower, there could be nothing in there. It could just be a deserted wizard tower. But you're building some world building in that. You're getting some lore established of well, there was a wizard tower before the orcs arrived. The orcs are somehow anti-magic. And then everyone goes, what?
And that's when the Fire Nation attacked.
Sure. And then it's all the things. Yeah. Why not? But
somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh, never that one. Just think of some ideas like that. And again, if you can't think of ideas, look at other random tables. And if there's one you really like, just steal it. No one's going to be well, I know where you got that random table from.
And also, there are tons of online resources for this kind of stuff.
There are literally websites designed for, hey, you're playing this system, we will make a random encounter for you. Here are the stat blocks for said random encounter. You're welcome.
And this is one of the few times I'm okay with using AI as well. Say you could have AI come up with my random table.
That's actually a very interesting point. Do we want to talk about that in this episode or not? No, you know what? We're going to save that for the next We Promise We're Friends, which you can watch.
That's right.
If you become a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter. Any other things, Charles? Any other random encounter bits?
Bits? You want bits? I got your bits.
Okay, so anything else?
I think the key things to remember is that when you're using it, again, don't force yourself into a hole. It's optional, right? Mm-hmm. You want to keep it optional. You want to give a variety of possibilities, okay? And
they need to fit where it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And use a common dice. Use your common dice. Use the dice that's in your system. Yeah. These are going to be the things you're going to want to utilize when you're dealing with random tables.
Indeed. Or just play Traveler, and then that's it. That's the whole game.
Yeah, you don't have to actually create a game around it. Just play the character creation portion. You're gonna have a blast.
Or Fiasco, or
Fiasco's so
I guess
much fun.
Dune also has random encounters. There's probably some random encounters. Well, there are random tables in D&D. Stay witty. Let's see, where else are there random tables? There's also
Potato. That was random. Leave it in.
Yes, it was, Charles.